month, looked at your transactions, and just felt that horrible sinking feeling. That little wave of guilt. The how on earth did I spend that much feeling. And then you start doing the mental punishment routine. Oh, I shouldn't have bought that coffee. I shouldn't have ordered Deliveroo. I need to stop treating myself. I'm rubbish with money. And honestly, I think a lot of people in the UK are walking around with this constant low-level shame around spending money. We're told that if we stop buying lattes, we'd magically be able to afford a house. As if the reason first-time buyers are struggling is because of a flat white and not because deposits, rents, food bills, energy bills, childcare and mortgage rates have all been absolutely brutal. So what do? We try to be stricter. We do no spend months. We delete every shopping app. We live off beans on toast. We tell ourselves we're not allowed to enjoy anything until we're good with money. And then, after a few weeks, we feel miserable, we rebel, we overspend, and the guilt cycle starts all over again. But here's the truth. Extreme frugality is not the same as building wealth. And the quietly wealthy do not become wealthy simply by hoarding every single penny and never enjoying their lives. They become wealthy because they understand something most people are never taught. Every pound you spend is doing one of two things. It is either compounding or it is decaying. And once you understand that, you stop feeling guilty about spending. You stop asking, can I afford this? And you start asking, what is this pound actually doing for me? Welcome back to Quiet Wealth. Hi, I'm Amara and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, we talk about building wealth quietly, intentionally, and sustainably, not through flashy status symbols, not through pretending to be rich, and definitely not through financial panic. Just a quick reminder before we get into it, this video is for education and general information only. It's not personal financial advice. I don't know your full circumstances, so always do your own research and speak to a qualified professional if you need advice specific to you. Today, I want to completely reframe how you think about spending, because if you've been made to feel guilty every time you enjoy your money, this video is going to feel like a deep breath. We're going to talk about the decaying pound, the compounding pound, and how to start spending in a way that actually moves your life forward. And make sure you stay until the end, because I'll give you a simple 3-step filter you can use before any major purchase. Let's start with the advice most of us were given growing up. Save your money. Don't waste it. Spend less. Be sensible. And to be fair, that advice isn't completely wrong. You do need to spend less than you earn if you want to build wealth. You do need an emergency fund. You do need to avoid drowning in high-interest debt. But here's where traditional budgeting advice falls apart. It treats all spending as bad and all saving as good, and that is far too simplistic. Because two people can spend £500 and have completely different outcomes. One person spends £500 on clothes they don't need, on a credit card they won't clear, to impress people they don't even like. Another person spends £500 on a qualification that helps them earn an extra £5,000 a year. Same amount of money leaving the account, completely different result. That's why we need to stop judging spending purely by the number and start judging it by the direction. Is this pound moving me forwards, or is it quietly disappearing? That is the difference between the compounding pound and the decaying pound. So let's talk about the decaying pound first. A decaying pound is money you spend on something that loses its value quickly, financially, emotionally, or practically. It's not always bad. It's not always wrong. But it is important to recognize it for what it is. A brand new car bought on PCP finance can be a decaying pound. The moment it leaves the forecourt, it starts losing value. Meanwhile, you're locked into monthly payments, insurance, servicing, tires, fuel, the lot. Fast fashion can be a decaying pound. You buy something because it's trending, wear it twice, then it sits in the wardrobe with the tag still on. A new phone contract can be a decaying pound, especially if your current phone works perfectly well but you upgrade because everyone else has. Random Amazon purchases can be decaying pounds. Takeaways you didn't even enjoy can be decaying pounds. Subscriptions you forgot you had. Gym memberships, streaming services, app trials, all quietly nibbling away at your current account. And again, I'm not saying you can't have nice things. Please don't hear that. This is not the never buy a coffee channel. If you love coffee, buy the coffee. If you genuinely enjoy a takeaway on a Friday night after a long week, enjoy it. If a beautiful coat makes you feel amazing and you'll wear it for years, brilliant. The problem is not spending. The problem is unconscious spending. It's spending to soothe stress, spending to keep up appearances, spending because you're bored, spending because Klarna made it feel painless. Spending because you've had a hard day and clicking buy now gives you a tiny hit of control. And this is where so many people get trapped. They work hard, they get paid, and then their money leaks out in 100 tiny directions before they've had a chance to tell it what to do. That's not because they're lazy. It's because the entire consumer economy is designed to make your decaying pounds feel normal. Now let's flip it. What is a compounding pound? A compounding pound is money you spend today that creates more value for you tomorrow. Sometimes that value is financial, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's health, sometimes it's peace of mind, sometimes it's better relationships. But the key is this: the benefit grows over time. For example, spending £300 on a professional course that helps you get promoted is a compounding pound. Spending £25 on a book that changes how you manage money, negotiate your salary, or build a business is a compounding pound. Spending £1,000 on a reliable laptop that allows you to freelance, study, create content, or run a side hustle is a compounding pound. Contributing to your pension, where you may get tax relief and possibly employer contributions, can be a compounding pound. Putting money into a stocks and shares ISR for long-term investing can be a compounding pound. Spending money on therapy, coaching, or proper support that helps you break patterns which have held you back for years can be a compounding pound. Even spending money on your health can be a compounding pound. A gym membership you actually use, better food that gives you energy, a decent mattress that improves your sleep, physio that helps you deal with pain before it becomes a bigger issue. Because your body is an asset, your energy is an asset, your attention is an asset, and the wealthiest people understand that money is not just for buying stuff. Money is a tool for buying capacity to earn, capacity to think, capacity to rest, capacity to make better decisions, capacity to build a life that isn't constantly running on fumes. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts. Most people only think about return on investment in terms of the stock market. They'll ask, what return can I get on this fund? What's the interest rate on this savings account? What's the yield? And yes, those things matter. But some of the highest returns you will ever get come from investing in yourself. If a £600 course helps you earn £6,000 more per year, that is an incredible return. If paying £80 for childcare for a few hours gives you the space to complete a project that brings in new income, that may be a compounding pound. If paying a cleaner once a fortnight gives you back time and reduces household stress, that can be a compounding pound. Now, I know what some people will say. Amara paying for a cleaner in this economy. And listen, I'm not saying everyone should do that. I'm not saying you should spend money you don't have. But I am saying this: wealthy people do not only ask, how much does this cost? They ask, what does this free me up to do? That is a completely different question. Because if you spend 3 hours cleaning every Saturday and you're exhausted afterwards, that has a cost. If those 3 hours could be spent building a business, resting properly, studying for a qualification, or simply being present with your children, then there is a calculation to be made. Not every task should be outsourced, but every task should be questioned, because your time is not free just because nobody sends you an invoice for it. This is where a lot of people go wrong with frugality. They become so focused on saving pennies that they lose pounds in opportunity. They'll spend 45 minutes comparing supermarket prices to save £1 and £80. But they won't spend 45 minutes improving their CV. They'll drive across town to save 3p per litre on petrol, but they won't negotiate their salary. They'll cancel the £10 subscription that genuinely helps them learn, but keep the £400 car payment that exists mainly for status. That is not financial discipline. That is misplaced discipline. Quiet wealth is not about obsessing over every tiny purchase. It's about identifying the big leaks and redirecting that money into things that actually compound. Because let's be honest, for most people, the issue is not one coffee. It's the rent or mortgage they can barely afford, the car payment that's too high, the holidays they put on credit, the lifestyle inflation after every pay rise, the subscriptions they don't use, the impulse spending that happens when they're stressed or tired. So instead of shaming yourself over a £3.50 coffee, I want you to zoom out, ask better questions. Where are the biggest decaying pounds in your life? Where is your money going that doesn't reflect your real values? And where could that money go instead? Let me give you a practical example. Imagine someone earns £38,000 a year. After tax, national insurance, pension contributions, and student loan repayments, their take-home pay might feel much tighter than the headline salary suggests. They're not reckless. They're not out every night. They're just living a normal UK life. Rent has gone up. Council tax is up. Food shopping is more expensive. Energy bills are painful. The train fare into work is ridiculous. So they feel like they have no money to build wealth. But then they audit their spending and notice a few things. £120 a month on subscriptions they barely use. £250 a month on takeaways and convenience food. £180 a month on clothes and random online shopping. £300 a month extra on a car they bought because they felt they deserved it. That's £850 a month. Now, I'm not saying they need to cut all of it, but even redirecting half, £425 a month into an emergency fund, a stocks and shares ISA, a pension top-up, a course or paying down expensive debt could completely change their financial future. Not overnight, but quietly, consistently, powerfully. That's the point. Wealth is often built by taking money that used to disappear and giving it a job. So how do we actually apply this? I want to give you 3 filters, simple, practical, and you can use them immediately. Filter number 1, the 5-year test. Before any meaningful purchase, ask yourself, in 5 years, will I still be glad I bought this? If the answer is yes, it may be a compounding pound. A quality mattress you sleep on every night for years? Probably yes. A course that helps you change career? Possibly yes. A family trip that creates memories you'll talk about for decades? Yes, that can count too, because not all compounding is financial. Joy can compound. Connection can compound. Health can compound.
Confidence can compound. But if you already know that in 5 years the item will be broken, forgotten, outdated, or shoved in a drawer, be honest with yourself. That doesn't mean you can't buy it. It just means you need to know what category it belongs to. Filter number 2, the time and energy test. Ask yourself, is this purchase giving me time, energy, or capacity back? This is where you stop being cheap with your life. Sometimes the cheapest option is not the best option.
The cheapest train ticket with 3 changes might save you £12, but cost you 2 hours and your sanity. The cheapest laptop might save you £200, but crash every day and slow your work down. The cheapest shoes might fall apart in 3 months. The cheapest food might leave you tired and unwell. There is a difference between being financially responsible and constantly choosing the lowest price at the expense of your energy. Wealthy people protect their attention. They know that decisions, energy, and focus are limited, so they spend intentionally to preserve them. Filter number 3, the values test. Ask yourself, does this purchase match the life I say I want? This one is uncomfortable, but powerful. If you say you want financial freedom, but your money keeps going to things that impress other people, there's a mismatch. If you say you want to start a business, but you never invest in tools, learning, or time to build it, there's a mismatch. If you say your health matters, but you won't spend on anything that supports it, there's a mismatch. Your bank statement is not a moral judgment. It is feedback. It shows you what your current system is producing. And if you don't like the result, you don't need shame. You need a better system. This is where value-based budgeting comes in. And I love this because it removes so much guilt. Value-based budgeting means you cut ruthlessly on what you don't care about, so you can spend generously on what you do care about. That's it. You don't need to live like a monk. You don't need to cancel every joy. You need to stop spending by default and start spending by design. If you don't care about cars, don't let a car payment swallow your income just because people around you drive newer cars. If you don't care about designer brands, don't buy them for Instagram. If you don't care about going out every weekend, stop saying yes just because you feel awkward saying no. But if travel genuinely matters to you, budget for it. If your health matters, budget for it. If learning matters, budget for it. If having help at home gives you peace, budget for it. If investing for your future matters, automate it. This is how you build a financial life that actually feels like yours. Not your parents' life, not your friend's life, not the life social media told you to want. Yours. And here's something I really want you to hear. You are allowed to enjoy your money. You work hard for it. Money is not only for bills, savings, and retirement, but you deserve more than temporary relief followed by guilt. You deserve spending that supports you, spending that strengthens you, spending that buys back your time, grows your skills, protects your peace, and builds your options. That is how the quietly wealthy think. They do not ask, how do I never spend? They ask, how do I make sure my spending is aligned with freedom? Because every pound is an employee, Every pound you earn is working for someone. It's either working for Amazon, your lender, the car finance company, the fashion brand, the food delivery app, or it's working for you. It's building your emergency fund. It's growing in your ISA. It's increasing your pension. It's improving your skills. It's protecting your health. It's buying back your time. It's giving future you more choices. That is the real game. Not guilt, not restriction, not pretending you don't want nice things. Intentionality. So, here's what I want you to do after this video. Open your banking app, not with shame, but with curiosity. Look through the last 30 days and label your spending in 2 categories: decaying and compounding. That's it. No judgment, just awareness. Then pick one. Decaying pound. You can reduce this month and redirect that money into 1 compounding pound. Maybe that's cancelling a subscription and putting the money into your emergency fund. Maybe it's cutting 1 takeaway a week and using that money for a book, a course, or an ISA contribution. Maybe it's selling something you don't use and putting the money towards clearing a credit card. Small shifts, repeated consistently, are how quiet wealth is built. Not through drama, not through deprivation, through direction. If this video helped you rethink spending, I want you to do 3 things. First, hit the like button because it tells YouTube to show this to more people who are tired of feeling guilty about money. Second, subscribe to Quiet Wealth if you want calm, practical, UK-focused conversations about building wealth without playing the status game. And third, comment below with one thing. What is the best compounding pound you've ever spent? Was it a book, a course, a gym membership, a therapist, a laptop, childcare, a train ticket to an opportunity? I read the comments and I genuinely want to know. And if you're feeling brave, also tell me what decaying pound you're ready to cut back on this month, because that's where the change starts. Remember, wealth is not built by hating every purchase. It's built by making sure more of your pounds are working for your future than disappearing into your past. Have a brilliant week. Look after yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.